Who knew? The boys are back. We brought a special guest with us. That is Corby. That is Nick. I'm Christian. Good morning to everyone. I can't wait to see the chat popping off just like the good old days. And I'm ready to talk some ball. How we feeling, boys?
Good. It's going to be fun. I like that little house music intro we had going on. So that's always fun for a Saturday morning, chilling.
That is like the standard stock StreamYard music, but I'm rocking with it too.
Some good games to talk about, some bad games to talk about, some allegations of point shaving. I saw that came out like probably 20 minutes ago. It came out. NCAA is going to investigate that. So always fun Saturday in sports.
I didn't hear that. Can you tell me about it?
Chris, did you miss the Eastern Michigan stuff yesterday?
No, what happened?
They got caught.
Yeah. They definitely did it. But the NCAA is going to look into that. You know, it's listen, if you know the game, you know that this happens way too often. I'm glad they're going to get caught. Hopefully it'll scare some people. Let me tell you, it won't. The issue with the NCAA is like they're looking into it. It's just like, out of principle with them trying to cover their ass. They're not going to look into it. They'll be fine. You can. I'm not going to say too much about it, but you can follow a rabbit trail to see multiple teams who've done it through this one allegation. It happens. Eastern Michigan will get caught. I think so. Chris, that game, who'd they play? Nick, they were playing
Northern Illinois. Was their last game?
No,
earlier
Central Michigan. Central Michigan. That game closed Central Michigan 7. Central Michigan first half -6. So you can imagine the money that was in on that first half. It was not good.
And Eastern Michigan covered it though. They covered the number.
So it's always first halves. Almost always first halves. It was first half Eastern Michigan. I mean, it's definitely happening.
Wait. You're saying the team that covered? How does my mic sound? By the way, I'm experimenting with picking it up. It's kind of fun.
You're better picking it up.
Interesting.
The closer, the better. Yeah, the closer, the better. Don't put it on your face, but
I might need like a little arm. You know what I mean? Is that what you got? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you're saying that the team point shaving accidentally covered?
Yeah. So basically, if you ever look at these happen, and Nick, I mean, we don't know that it's happening. You know, we could be lying. I have no clue. I've never even heard anything about college basketball. But if it was to hypothetically happen, you would want your stats to look good. You wouldn't want to be the guy who is a negative 30 plus minus when the NCAA comes out. So like, it's less obvious than you would think. It's a guy stopping transition. It's a guy throwing a pass behind the guy's back. He still catches it. It's not a turnover, but it kills the flow of the offense. It's things like that. So sometimes you cover. Go watch the game back. You'll know exactly who it is. You know ball. Go watch the game back first half.
Oh, it's only one or two guys?
Yeah. No, it's one player. You'll know exactly who it is if you watch. If you watch from the 13-minute mark to the 6-minute mark of the Eastern Michigan game, you'll know who it is.
I hope it wasn't DePaul legend Jalen Terry. Was it DePaul legend Jalen Terry?
Let's get into the into the basketball.
Let's see how the chat's doing. Some familiar faces here who have been bugging us to get going again. I appreciate you. Austin, what's going on, my man? Twins fan. I don't think he's ever missed a stream. Neither has Ian. Those are some of the real MVPs. So hopefully today we can supply some winners, or at the very least some entertainment. There's some key ranked matchups to talk about, but I spent a lot of time on this board, and I kind of want to talk about a lot of different games. One thing I want to get off my chest, though, I'm upset that I don't even know if I'm going to watch a Big East game today. And I love the Big East, and the Big East was so fun last year, and this year it's like there's so many good teams in the country, in the SEC, in the Big 12, and the Big 10. Like, am I going to carve out time to watch a Marquette Xavier against a Xavier team that's like super underwhelmed, or a Seton Hall team that's 6-11? Or do I think Creighton has any shot to go on the road and beat UConn? Like, no. I mean, I'm thinking about playing UConn or an under in that spot. Maybe Creighton can defend well, but I'm just upset that the Big East isn't at a higher level this year. There's any thoughts on that?
I would say that very first, I'll go ahead and help you take off that board. Don't watch the Seton Hall game. That's pretty easy. From a Marquette Xavier standpoint, I think Xavier's good. I bet Xavier futures the day before Fremantle got hurt for the first time. They've been underwhelming certainly, but I think that's some like tribulations that I'm not really sure are conducive of what the team is going to be. So I don't know. Even you see a Marquette game, they lost by 2 in the last matchup. I think Fremantle was out of that game, right? Yeah, he was hurt in that game. So I think it'd be a better matchup than you would think. I do agree. Like the Big East overall, like it's kind of weird to see the SEC kind of take precedence over these schools that like have always been basketball heavy schools. But I still have a small glimmer of hope for my Xavier future.
I think Xavier's going to beat Marquette today.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think they're back from the dead, bro, after Ryan Conwell's 30-piece last game miracle.
Dude, he is so filthy. He's one of the best players in the country, I think.
He's disgustingly smooth.
Yes.
So I heard someone say that they don't think Conwell can they were like that was a good performance, but that's not like kind of basketball player he is. I was like, dude, we're watching 2 different performances. I think he's just a menace. I think
every shot that he takes is gonna go in. And can I also get fired up about something I'm passionate about, getting the morning going as my coffee starts to, hit a little bit? How the fuck did Indiana State not make the tournament last year? What bullshit is that? Do we need to see Virginia and whoever the hell got to go to Dayton? Like Indiana State lost what? 6 games? 5? They went 28-6. Lost to Drake by 4 in the tournament, and 2 of their losses were at Alabama, not Michigan State. They don't get to make the tournament. If Drake doesn't make the tournament this year, when they went freaking undefeated in non-con, that's going to be some bullshit too. But Indiana State having Ryan Conwell, Kevin Overton, Robbie Avia, Julian Larry, Jason Kent, Isaiah Swope, that was just bullshit. That was a really fucking good basketball team, and it pissed me off they didn't make it. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Luke, for sure. The 1 seeds, as Cyclone Larry pointed out, we have like historically great 1 seeds. These are all really, really good teams. So you know what? Let's start with one of those 1 seeds in Auburn. So Auburn, I was one of the idiots, like I've been plenty of times this season, who thought Mississippi State was going to walk into the jungle and have something to say just because Janai Broome wasn't playing. And Cardwell and Chaney played like unbelievable defense. And Chad Baker-Mazara sometimes just is a flamethrower and doesn't miss. And when he gets fired up in front of that home crowd, and then Todd's coming in, they're a really good team. But we saw them go on the road to South Carolina, a South Carolina team that is one of the worst teams in the SEC, maybe the worst team in the SEC, and barely win. So now you're going at Georgia, a Georgia team that is finally ranked and has been playing really well, has lottery talent in Asa Newell and guards, playing much better basketball than people realize. This was bet down from 8.5 to 5.5. Do we think Georgia is a legit threat to win this at home today?
You got it, Nick.
Yeah, I think UGA is live, to be honest with you. I mean, Auburn's tough, but they're 0-3 ATS on the road this season. They are 2-1, the only road loss being at Duke, but they didn't look great against South Carolina. They didn't look great in their other road game. Georgia's 11-0 at home this season. They've had some turnover problems, but if you look at the defensive analytics for Auburn, the one thing they don't do well is turnover teams. So I think that UGA has a little, but they just can't kind of get exposed in that area per se. Like the line movements have been pretty beat up for me. I would have liked to gotten the opener. 5.5 is kind of tough. If it jumps back up, which I do expect some Auburn money this morning at that number, I think 6.5 is pretty playable for Georgia here. They looked really good in their Kentucky win, and I was surprised by that because that's kind of been Mike White's biggest thing is just getting that monkey off the back and getting a big win. And they did that, and they're looking like a tournament resume team. And if you can beat Auburn today at home, then I mean you have a really good resume right here. So I like Georgia with the points today.
Corby, anything?
Yeah, man. I was in this Georgia bandwagon, I guess you could call it bandwagon, in the Tennessee matchup. And like the thought was Tennessee inevitably is going to have to start fouling people. Like they can't be 21st in the nation and in fouls per possession and play as scrappy as Tennessee plays. Like at some point, Georgia has the athletes to get to the line, and we kind of saw that like they couldn't even take advantage of that. They shot 12 free throws in that Tennessee game. A Tennessee game, they look pretty crappy. Like I don't think Auburn is like going to be able to sustain what we've seen again, a historic Auburn basketball team. I don't think that's possible to sustain. My worry is like if Georgia couldn't even take advantage of where they had like situational matchups, I'm not sure they'll have a situational matchup here. I thought Georgia's matchup with Tennessee was a really good matchup, though I do agree, obviously, Janai Broome being out, like Georgia has some star power, but you bring up like Baker Mazar. I mean, we got Kelly. Like Auburn's going to have at all times 3 players on the court that are better. Like they'll always have the talent differential. So I was surprised this number was falling as fast as it was. I haven't bet either side of this. I would be on Auburn at 4.5. I'd be on Georgia at 8. Probably falls in between. I could see like an Auburn 7 pretty easy here.
Here's my thing with Auburn. It was undeniable that they were the best team in the country, right? Up until Broome getting hurt. He should be fine long term, so like there's no need to overreact. But I think it's really interesting. What does this team look like without him? And while he is a completely different player than Donovan Clingan, I made that comparison of like, remember when UConn last year were like, oh, but now they don't have that imposing presence on the interior. What does it look like? And what happened? They just had a winning culture, and people stepped up. And yeah, they played close games at Butler, and they played close games at Xavier, but they won every time, basically. And it sharpened the team, and we all know what they did the rest of the season. So I think this is a blessing in disguise for Auburn to elevate a lot of these guys without Broome. But the thing that I'm trying to figure out about this game, and I'm trying to figure this out just a lot about home games. When shit gets out of hand, right? And when Auburn wins by 22, it's like, why? Is it just because Mississippi State wasn't hitting threes? You know, they shot 3 of 24. Or were they not getting really good looks from 3 because they were just getting their asses locked up and then had zero answer on the other end where Auburn shot, 64% from 2 and 42% from deep? Like, did they just get fucking smoked by a way better team? And like, this is a Mississippi State team that, is like very legit and had beaten SMU and on the road, Memphis on the road. Somebody else, Vandy, who's no joke. I like Vandy. But I still have this thing in the back of my mind about Auburn from past Auburn teams, especially without Broome, where it's like, what happens when Chad Baker Mazara doesn't make every single fucking shot, and when Dylan Cardwell and Chaney Johnson don't block every single shot? Like maybe Auburn is just this absolute total juggernaut, which they have. But the South Carolina game sits in my mind too. Like they just went on the road and played a team that a lot of teams have been whooping that ass. And, in South Carolina, literally only one dude that could score. And what happened? Like you're lucky to get 15 off the bench from Pettiford, and Miles Kelly can shoot. He's not like the guys they had in the past, but the Denver Jones, the Chad Baker Mazara, and the intense bigs that just make things happen on both ends, just finishing lobs, crashing the glass, and protecting the rim. I don't know. Sometimes what if you can't overwhelm the opposition and you have to play in a slower half-court game, and you do need Todd Pettiford to like be your best player? And I fuck with Todd Pettiford, but I'm just saying when the whole machine isn't just fucking cooking and running you over, how good are they? That being said, Mississippi State is a weird team of like the way they use their bigs. Like Cameron Matthews, like 6'7". Big. What's up?
You said Mississippi State. They played Georgia today.
I know, but I'm making the point about.
Okay.
But Cameron Matthews is like a 6'7" hybrid big who like puts the ball on the floor and tries to get into your body and finish, and like they want to throw guys the offensive glass. And like Keyshawn Murphy and Nwoko. Nwoko was asked for Miami last year, but he's been a little better for them. It gets me to Georgia by saying this Georgia front court, maybe they are capable of holding their own against the Cardwells and Johnsons. Asia Newell is a lottery pick. He can face up. He can do a lot. RJ Godfrey is a strong motherfucker. I loved him at Clemson. I think he's really good. So all that to say that I totally think Georgia can win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia wins this game easily. Like there's always that like random upset, where someone like not just squeezes out. Like Georgia fucking beats Auburn by like 10. I would not be surprised by that at all, but I can't do it because what if it is the Auburn machine? This is a long-winded rant, but all my point is saying, what happens if the Auburn machine isn't doing the thing? because we've seen that in the past when Auburn has been a machine. This year's just been on another level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the issue with that is like I think everyone kind of has a machine to a point. Like you look at Alabama, I feel the same way with Alabama. I can never back Alabama because I see 5 guys who like if Mark Sears is bad, like I'm not confident that offense in the half court is really worth much. I would say like at least Auburn has the ability to have guys go basket. Like I mean they're 107 and points per game from the 3-point line. Like I think Miles Kelly's a really good get to the basket guy. And as we all know, like teams who struggled when the machine is broken is all 3-point shooting teams. Because when you're not shooting the 3, if you can't hit the 3 and you don't have anything else going for you, like you're in trouble. I think Auburn at least has some dynamics towards getting to the basket. Like I think this Auburn team is good. That's not a hot take, I know, but like in the half court, the ability to get Miles Kelly in an isolation situation to get to the basket to potential free throw line shots. I think that is what can keep Auburn basically winning every game. Now covering is a different story. I do agree with you there. If we get the low of Auburn, like this number could get pretty bad.
Nick.
Yeah, last thing I'll add to it is Auburn is great, as we know, but if you isolate just the road games, which again is a small 3-game sample size where they're 0-3 ATS, the issue is they're mediocre on defense. They're only 141st in adjusted defense on the road. So therein lies a problem. That's why they struggle. That's why like South Carolina was getting buckets against them, because the defense has just been mediocre on the road.
But why is that? For real? Is it just the comfort of other teams at home?
Well, I think one is Auburn is the biggest get-up game of the season right now because they're the only team in the country. And 2, Auburn at home is just absolutely insane. Like the jungle is absurd. It's so hard to go in there and play. They feed off that energy where they don't have that energy on the road. And yeah, I just think that's the biggest thing.
I had to take my comfy off. It's too damn hot. Pretty much.
I noticed you had that on. I wasn't going to say anything, but I did notice you were wearing a comfy on a public live stream.
That's my signature morning stream. I got my coffee and my comfy. So
hey, whatever gets you going.
We spent a lot of time on that one. I think bringing up Mississippi State, I kind of want to talk about this rivalry game, staying in the SEC. Mississippi State favored by 6.5. Ole Miss has been really good lately, and I tweeted this out the other day. Ole Miss, so we know last year, awful defensively in Chris Beard's first year. He brings Mark Adams with him and has a pretty new roster. Obviously, you keep Morrell and Brakefield, and you bring in Dia, Padula. Oh, Jalen Murray's back too. But Dia's been playing out of his mind. This is the crazy thing to me, though, because the first month of the season, up until, right before this Louisville game when they won the road and kicked Louisville's ass, which all of a sudden looks really impressive. They were they were like 90th defensively, and they've been the number 3 defense in the country since the start of December. And that's an undersized team with a bunch of guards who can score. And obviously they haven't been as good, but they take really good care of the ball. And they're still in the top 30 offensively. So they're on a heater, taking care of business at home by double digits, and going on the road beating Arkansas. Everyone's doing that right now. And then that win over Alabama is extremely impressive. I know, Corby, you explained your sometimes don't like to back Alabama. I think Alabama's a top 5 team. I think Alabama is a legit top title contender. This to say, Mississippi State laid 6.5. This line's moving. It is already kind of juiced to Mississippi State. You're not getting any sort of discount for them getting crushed by Auburn or Ole Miss going on the road to beat Bama. Like the market doesn't work like that anymore. I don't know if it did before I got into this really, but it seems like the market is just too sharp. Like you're not getting any discounts in a scenario like that. Is it too many points, though? It's a rivalry game, and Mississippi State can score a bunch of points. But, man, if Ole Miss is defending at the high level, I think they're a way better offensive team. And I don't know. I think it's interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is one of those teams that, at time to time, you're just wrong on teams. I thought Mississippi State was going to come into the season and be really bad. Not Mississippi State, Ole Miss, sorry. I just like when you look through this lineup, I watched them play. I think it was one of the first games of the year, and it kind of was a confirmation bias for me. They played Grambling to a 2-point game. Grambling, notably bad team. And then they played South Alabama, who like at the time for Ken Palm looked decent. But if you watch that game, I mean, it looked like talent versus talent. you're playing like a competitive in-conference game, South Alabama versus Ole Miss. So it's good to see that they have cleaned it up. I still struggle to say that any lineup that Padula is like one of your primary scoring options. I mean, you'll learn very quickly. I just don't like the like 4 foot behind the 3-point line shot in the flow of an offense.
Bro,
I'm not a
Padula
fan.
is so good. How are you hating on Sean Padula right now?
No, he's a good basketball player, but I'm not sure that it translates into wins in the SEC.
He's shooting 40% from deep.
I know, and this is what I said. This is why I started it with. This is one of those teams I'm wrong on. I see everything about this team, and I say I hate this fucking team. I bet unders. I lose the unders. I bet against them. I lose those. I see a matchup there when they play at Purdue. There's no reason they score 78. I had that game at like 69 points, and time again they just proved me wrong. So this defense is great. Chris Beard is a great coach. It's always hard to fade a great coach. So I kind of agree. Like this number just seems big in a rivalry with good coaches, but Ole Miss inevitably one of those teams I do not have a thumb on at all.
Sell me on Mississippi State, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, back to that Purdue game, Corby, Ole Miss could not miss from 3. Like, started second half, they made like 8 threes in a row.
15.
It was unbelievable. I was watching the game. It was crazy.
But they've got shooters. They've got guys. It's not like random that they're
shooting. No, they do. But this is the biggest thing. And I respect Ole Miss. Like, I've grown to really like them. I like Chris Beard. I like Padula. Like, I loved them in the League D last year at Belmont. Like, why would I not like this team? But the biggest thing is like the turnover percent. They're so good at not turning it over, and they are so good at turning over teams. But they're getting lucky. Like, they're 4-0 in SEC. There is a good luck factor to it. Teams are shooting 23% from 3 against them in the SEC. That's not going to sustain. I think that if you're a pure spot better, and that's why the line has moved like this, and it was already, it came out 4.5 when it should have came out like 3.5, 4 in my opinion. Is they're off back-to-back losses. I think Miss State lost to like Auburn and Kentucky, and Kentucky on their home court last Saturday. So giant game back at the hump. It's a rivalry game. I think they're like 7-3 ATS is straight up the last 10 versus them. It's been a good matchup for them. Miss State dominates the rebounding margins in this game, in my opinion. They're 30th in O rebounding, 112th in defense rebounding. Ole Miss is 248th in O rebounding. So they have a little bit of an edge there. I talked about the turnovers for Ole Miss, and they can't really exploit Miss State. Miss State ranks 11th in turnover percent offensively. So I just think that there's just like this perfect storm going where this aggressive defense that Ole Miss plays, and if they're not forcing turnovers and getting extra buckets in transition, and it's just going to give Miss State good looks, extra possessions at home. I didn't lay this number because I think it's a bit much, but I agree with the early money. I threw Miss State in money line parlay.
Nick, hear me out. When you look at Mississippi State's offensive rebounding, which when I watch them, to me is a key thing. A lot of these teams that have these low turnover percentage, why is that? This is the thing of trying to make these KenPom numbers come to life. The reason this number is low for Mississippi State is because Chris James would rather Josh Hubbard go tween, step back 3 than try to, drive in and create something, because you're getting a shot up and you're giving those boys a chance to get an offensive rebound if you throw it up there. It was like that. I always think of when I think of the low term finish of that fucking Wisconsin Johnny Davis team that said, all right, 10 seconds on the shot clock, just give it to Johnny Davis. We'll see if he can do some cool shit. If not, we'll get 5 guys back on defense. So I say that. I do think the offensive rebounding is – go ahead.
One thing here, I'm pretty sure it's noted, but Kugel was probable today. Okay. I think that's why the opener was what it was, and we saw a little bit of a bump down due to him being probable today. I don't know about you guys. I like him a lot. I think that's one of the I am never off. I just haven't shot enough kind of guys in the NCAA right now.
I liked him a lot, but he's just been in and out. And I know he was in rhythm a bit. I just always wanted to see him be that guy he was at the end of his freshman year at Florida, and it just hasn't fully happened. But I agree, it's important to have him in there. But to finish this point, like, I think crushing the offensive rebounding is really important. But at home, of course, they're probably more likely to, overcome the turnover percentage and win that turnover battle. And for the Hubbard and Harris and those guys to be shooting the 3-ball well and Melendez. But how impressive is it that Ole Miss went on the road to an Alabama team that is a very good offensive rebounding team and give up 4 offensive rebounds? Their tallest starter is a 6'9" mid-major transfer in Malik Dia. The next tallest transfer is the next tallest guy is 6'6" Ray Davis. And they only gave up 4 offensive rebounds to a team with 3 6'11" guys in the starting lineup. That's hella impressive. You held Alabama to 64 points, and I understand. Oh, the 3-point shooting. It doesn't matter 3-point shooting with Alabama. It's like the biggest facade with them. Alabama wants to get to the fucking rack and lay that ball up and get to the free throw line. That's why they're third in the country in 2-point percentage. So that's just what I'm saying about Ole Miss that scares me. What if Ole Miss does rebound the basketball? Mississippi State's not that big. They're just so aggressive. And if you're a well-coached team by Chris Beard and Mark Adams and you box it out, you get in that ball, and you're holding Mississippi State to one shot, they are not the same team. And the reason I brought up this is a filter of since December 28th. So it's when you take out, the types of games where Mississippi State gets to play, Southeastern Louisiana and get, 13 offensive rebounds. Not a good example, but I bet against Georgia State, 12, whatever. But what I'm saying is it was like that Baylor thing we always talked about, Nick, last year where, you looked like an elite team at this because you kicked ass at the beginning of the season, but they are the 94th best offensive rebounding team in the country in the past 3 weeks. So is it that much of a strength or stylistically do they just want to funnel guys? I don't know. I'm just very impressed by only allowing 4 offensive rebounds to Alabama. We're going slow today, but I'm fired up. We can move on. But I don't know if I'm going to play Ole Miss. I'm just saying I think that who says they're not a top 12 team? Who says, bro? I know it seems weird, but it's Chris Beard. And they got hoopers, man. And they win the turnover battle every time. They got shooters and they defend and they rebound.
I'm not sure top 12, but a pesky top 20, I would agree with you. Top 12 is we got to piece together a couple of things. I will say the 4 off. I remember I was on the Bet US show when I just opened up the history of that Bama Ole Miss game, and the first thing that stood out to me as well was 4 offensive rebounds for Alabama. Which, granted, you talk about scheme and what you're trying to do. Bama going for the offensive boards, of course, but they also shoot fucking 700 threes a game. So your offensive rebound rate when you have 4 guys outside of the 3-point line significantly less. It's a rim and 3, but Alabama has turned it into a 3 and rim at this point. So it was ugly. I do give Ole Miss some credit for it, but also, as you probably know at this point, I'm not a big Bama guy.
My boy Pottinger, we already talked about Georgia. He brings up this Kentucky game. Let's talk about it. I have no idea. The total is obviously sky high at 178.5. We saw Kentucky battle with Florida at home. I don't know what to think of this. I think they're both really good. I know you're a little bit more anti-Alabama. I love Kentucky too. They're so fun to watch offensively. They're tough on the inside. I don't see where either team has an advantage other than Kentucky being at home. But the fact that Kentucky's at home and they're only laying 2.5, grinds my gears a little bit, gets the wheels turning because I do think Alabama is better. But does that mean I think I can go on the road to Rupp with this revitalized fan base in this really hard team to guard that is so disciplined and so together offensively? I don't know. Are you guys surprised that it's only Kentucky minus 2.5?
No, I made it Kentucky 1.5. So I would kind of agree with you here. I think Bama should. I mean, listen, you can say what you want about Bama, but they should get some credit for being a good basketball team with good athletes and a good coach. It's all relative. I don't think Alabama sucks. I don't think that they are this powerhouse even of years past. And to the Kentucky point, I fully agree with you. Watching this Kentucky team, I enjoy sitting down and just watching Kentucky basketball. At this point, they are a good team with 5 good players who pass the ball well. It just feels like a much when we talk about the machine. I think Kentucky's machine breaks much less than everybody else's, and that's the issue, right? I think Alabama's machine breaks often when you need so many threes, but when you have somebody like Lamont Butler, you have somebody like Bray. Listen, if there was a guy to shoot threes all day, and I'd just say, hey, give him the ball, I don't care where you're at, it would be this kid for Kentucky. I mean, an absolute laser. So I think this Kentucky machine is more well-oiled. The interesting thing, I made this number 182 on the total. So 178, and still lean over is just the most insane thing I could say on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, I agree, and I never could play totals like this because literally, if you go like a minute 32 minutes without a bucket, it just screws up the whole total. Like there's no room for error. But I mean, the more I looked into them, more I was like, dude, I don't say there's no points. So let me run off some of these numbers. Kentucky's 11-0 at home, averaging 95 points per game at home, and that's the number one adjusted offense in the country when they're at home. Bama's 4-1 on the road. They've been good on the road. And they're averaging 90 points per game on the road. They play the number one tempo. They rank 19th in offensive rebounding. And Kentucky ranks 323rd in forcing turnovers. So to me, that all just creates like good shot volume numbers for Alabama. I was looking at the team totals here, and I wrote down Alabama team total over 88.5 because I don't trust their defense enough to get stops versus Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky is what they are. I had a slight lean on the spread for Alabama, but again, I just don't trust the defense. I trust their offense more. Off a loss, giant game. I think Kentucky's a little vulnerable on defense. So yeah, I lean Alabama team total over.
First of all, remember this absolute crazed fest last year? That was insane. Man,
Kentucky that was a great game. That was a great game.
That was fun. I think I did too. But look, this is crazy to me that Alabama only scored 64 against Ole Miss. I compare Alabama. I say they're the most similar to an NBA team, and it's not just the 3-point rate. Obviously, that plays a role, but it's the spacing. We make it so that we have so many dudes who can. We have Mark Sears, we have Grant Nelson, we have LeBaron Fallon, we have Aiden Holloway, and we have Chris Youngblood. And they don't even have Trelly anymore. But all these dudes can, if you have a spaced floor and you're one-on-one, they can get by their guy off the bounce and get to the rack, throw a lob, kick it out for three, and they attack closeouts, and it's just beautiful. And it's NBA like in that if you turn on the NBA, right, and you watch any of these shit teams, obviously the good ones, but if you even watch the bad ones, they got the spacing, so at the end of the day, they're getting good shots most possessions. And that's just what I love about Alabama. It's really hard to not let them take good shots. In Kentucky, it's obviously a very similar system with spacing, but it's more about the zoom action and the handoffs and in the motion versus just boom, 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 put it on the floor. And the one thing that is interesting about Kentucky, when they don't have Kirk Kreese out there, they don't have that much three-point shooting. Like they have Jackson Robinson and Kobe Bryant who have clips and will unload a zillion of them. And yes, you have stretch bigs like Carr and Garrison and Almanor who will let it fly. But like Otega Owe hasn't hit a three in like 3 games. Lamont Butler, that's not really his game. That I think is the biggest thing working against Kentucky here is Alabama, I think, can just shoot unless Robinson or Kobe goes crazy. Like I think Alabama's going to get way more threes up. And I think that bodes well for them in this environment because Kentucky hasn't been. I still think Kentucky can be a good defensive team, but they haven't been that good of a defensive team. I'm shocked that this number is so low, and I think that like long term that they will be better. What the fuck is this? I'm on Ken Pop.
Got to refresh Habs all the time. Yeah.
I hate that. But I don't know. I think I agree with Nick about the team total being a great look for Alabama. So you're not worried about, how the last couple minutes play out if this is a super tight game. But I trust this Alabama offense on the road so much still.
Yeah,
and they got more. I'm being careful saying this. I think they got more dudes. Like Alabama's just ridiculously talented. Like you're playing Aiden Holloway plays 18 minutes a game. Aiden Holloway is a really good guard. Aiden Holloway is going to be like an all first team SEC guard next year. Like and Chris Youngblood was the best player in USF last year. Won 20 games in a row. Like they just have a ridiculous amount of talent. And Kentucky's really good, but I think there might be just a slight differentiation.
Yeah, I think, and my only real point here is, and kind of my synopsis on Alabama basketball is, I agree. They have the talent, they have the spacing, they play the correct. Listen, if this was an NBA team, they play the correct type of basketball. Correct. The issue is, college kids aren't. It's a crazy hot take. College kids aren't as good as NBA players, right? And so I think often there are mistakes within the scheme of an offense that are easily defined by playing dribble handoff, by playing high pick and roll. Like example, you were at the game I saw, and I had bets on the game. Northwestern Maryland. Maryland knew one thing: if we set Julian Reese in a high pick and roll, they can't stop Gillespie from getting to the basket. And then we can force some kind of high ball screen post action. We can force the free throw line. We can get a drive and kick. Like, we can get all of these things. So where Alabama is great at spacing, my worry every time I watch it is like, I think I would rather use mismatches. Like it works in the NBA because your fifth best player on the court in the NBA is still an elite athlete who you just can't high pick and roll to death and have solid outcomes. But if you get Mark Sears in a high pick and roll versus Kentucky's 6-man when they have a starter on the bench, like, I think that's a good shot through and through. And so I think at times Bama tries to go too much isolation. Like, Mark Sears versus a 6-man is a little different than setting Mark Sears into a screen and roll versus the backup center for Kentucky. That's my worry. Not really in this game, just the overall outlook of what Oates is doing. I do agree. Bama's style is the most NBA-esque. I just don't know that in college for 36 games, that is a championship caliber style. I think
you
you
made
have
the
to
Final
have
Four last year, and they were the number 1 overall seed in the tournament the year before. You a hater. It works.
No, but he's right. Like the whole season they were mediocre, but when they get it rolling and
when it works, 100%. When it works, when the engine is on, Alabama's best team in the country. I have Alabama futures. I fully agree with you. The issue is, like, I think that you have to have some kind of legitimate, okay, the shit's not working, let's go to this. And every time I watch Bama, it's not. Like, you go look at I think it was the Houston game.
What do you mean if this is not working? If this is not working, what do you want them to do? Post up Cliff O'Mori? Like, what they do is,
that's the issue.
Everyone
they
don't need to because you bring out Mark Sears and you bring in friggin' Aiden Holloway, who's just a jet engine zoom guard who can hit threes from anywhere. That ball zooms around. They all get by their guys at the dribble. They attack, close out, and they get a good look like every single time. I don't know how. I didn't watch the whole Ole Miss game, so I don't know how that happened. Or they only scored 6-4, and I'm giving a lot of credit to Ole Miss there. But I don't understand this. Like how many teams just go and take care of business like that on the road and just score 100 freaking points? And no one's doubting. We just talked about Alabama's team total is 88.5. They're going to score the rock today. So the question is,
agreed,
like, are they going to be able to score more points than Kentucky? And obviously, I don't know, but Kentucky's going to have to score a lot to win. Is what 1,000%. And I just don't know how confident I am in them hitting that 90, 95 number that they have been hitting at home. I don't know.
I think the conviction here would be we all kind of lean towards the over. This game screams points through and through. You love the 3-point shooting and the spacing. I like the fact that I think Kentucky will have some isolation in a high pick and roll. So I think, can it be stated enough that, like, I think shout out Mark Pope. Like, I think what he is doing at Kentucky, like, this is just a really fun offense to watch. They have kind of changed up like what we're used to seeing in Kentucky culture. I've been really impressed by Kentucky so far.
All right. We're definitely going slow. Let's do some rapid fire on some of these SEC games. Oklahoma, it feels like a clear bounce back spot. What do you guys think about 7.5? Nick?
They were my money line parlay piece with whoever the fuck I just mentioned. I don't remember.
Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi State. But yeah, South Carolina down Stute, down Thomas, 4-game losing skid. I don't think they have much left in them. Oklahoma's still playing for a lot. I still don't think there's a ton of value on Oklahoma, which I have been over time and time again with people I talk to. But I think they get it done today at home. I think they bounce back and get it done too.
Yeah, I was kind of on this sell Oklahoma probably January 3rd. I had a show literally on January 3rd, Friday. And they since have lost 4 games, which is just the best feeling. You know, you say this team that's good, you think's good, sell on them, and they lose 4 straight. Always good. I will say, like, this is a talented team. Oklahoma, when I said sell, I meant relative to the current nature of the beast. It was like Alabama 9, and I thought Bama was significantly better than Oklahoma from a talent standpoint. But it would be Oklahoma through and through for me. I agree. I think that they're not a 4-game skid team. They have more talent. That they have really good coaching. I think this is a team that gets good looks. Oklahoma, a dangerous team to face headed into the late season.
Yeah, and I mean, can Godwin and Moore do a good enough job on CMB is obviously the main factor. This number is really interesting to me, and it screams a little bit of luck from early season. And this for a Porter Moser team, I'm disappointed. And the Fears kid is crazy. People are putting him like top 5 snaps, which I don't know if I'm there, but he's obviously really, really good. I don't even know if I want to waste time talking about this, but like, is Arkansas going to win one of these games? Are they just totally cooked? Like, it's crazy to me what this Cal shit is these days. And Trevon Brazile, I thought was like an NBA guy like 2 years ago, and now he's like barely a thing. Zvonimir Ivicic has his goofy ass look on his face and like should be a lottery pick, but he's just like can't even crack the rotation because he's a space cadet. And I don't know, Boogie Flan. Is it just enough with Boogie Flan and DJ Wagner? Like, no, it's not. Janelle Davis is not a thing. Like, it's bad right now, and I don't know if I trust him to turn it around. But at the same time, like, fucking Mizzou, bro. Like, I don't buy this at all. They didn't miss. I'm a damn fool for picking Florida -6.5. They were up. Mizzou was up 16 at half. But like, this Caleb Grills making every shot thing isn't like, that doesn't happen every time. I still don't think this team's that good. Is this a spot for Arkansas or no?
It's a spot, but you're catching a falling knife for sure, because there's 2 ways that I look at Arkansas right now. I think Cal's cooked. I think Cal Perry's done. I think he's tapped out. He wasn't going to
relate to the kids.
I figured he'd revive at Arkansas. He stinks still. But 2, I like the talent. I think the team is good. And in his last presser, he said he's going to mess with the lineup. And the lineup he really likes, I forget the exact 5. I looked on Hoop Explorer, and they've only played like 60 possessions the whole season together. But he does, like, credit him a little bit. He does find lineups that work. This is definitely a pure spot value. It's a good number on Arkansas because you're getting Missouri on an absolute high out there beating Florida, absolute buy low on Arkansas. If they're going to turn the season around, it's got to be today. So, I mean, I would lean Arkansas with the number, but it's not something I would want to put a lot of money on.
All right. Enough of the SEC. Been glazing the SEC all day. Let's talk Big 12. We have this unranked matchup between 2 top 17 teams in the country. Arizona's been on a heater. Krivas out for the season, but Visar is apparently like really good. Didn't realize that early on in the season. He was throwing down some like crazy dunks and can move well. Offensively, they've been great. And to me, the key thing about their offensive boost is, look at this. The percentage of possessions used. Look how balanced it is. It's like you're not asking Caleb Love to be a star, which should be the way it is, because he's no damn star. That doesn't mean he's not a good player, but he should not be your far and away best player, because he's not. And I'm happy that was addressed, and I think that's why they're playing better. He's still doing his Caleb Love thing. He's still like, I'm fine with him taking 6-7 threes a game if that's what he wants to do. I just don't want the turnovers. And I don't want the awful 3-point attempts, right? But with Bradley Love, go ahead.
They're better with him not even playing the game. I watched some of the U game, and they looked their best, and they went on a big run the second half when Love was on the bench.
I agree. I mean, I would argue that they have the best 6, 7, 8, and they have arguably a top 5-ish 6, 7, 8 in the country. Like, NBA player, really high recruit who I'm a big fan of, KJ Lewis. Like, this is impressive bench production to get. Delorso has really helped with the spacing. That is the thing. You can run Bradley. Arizona's got pro spacing. When they run a high ball screen with a 7-footer, Trey Townsend is a matchup nightmare who can step out and hit that 3, and he can score on you one-on-one down low. Awaka can be, whether it's Awaka or Visar, but they can space the floor. They're athletic. They can get downhill, and they're playing much better together. We saw them go on the road and beat West Virginia and Cincinnati, take care of business at home. Here's my thing, though, with Arizona. The 2 Big 12 teams they beat on the road can't fucking score at all. And Texas Tech is an elite offensive team who's lost 2 home games now. I've won a home game since before Christmas. And they were able to score at home against Iowa State. I think Texas Tech is going to be able to score the basketball. They will, like, very well. Will they be able to do enough to stop Arizona? An Arizona team that is tough to guard. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with your Caleb Love take. Like, I've kind of been in this. It sounds like you were as well. Like the Caleb Love assumed hater bandwagon. Like, I think I hate the fact that Caleb Love has been a significant best player on his team for years. I would agree with that. When an offense comes to that, I think it probably hurts more than it helps. The fact that they have been able to clean that up through and through, I agree with you. That's probably why they look like a better team. Watching that UCLA game, like there were times when I was like, what the hell? Like 1 for 7 from 3, 1 assist. Like it just didn't look like a flow of an offense that could win many games. I agree. I think that the market's trying to catch up to Arizona, and I'm not sure that they're able to. On the other side, I think Texas Tech is like a sneaky elite team. Like when I watch this team, I see a lot of consistent scoring, and I worry for any team that has to face this quote unquote unranked team in conference play. So Texas Tech could be your snoozer here. This is going to be such a good matchup. I'm excited to watch it. It would be honestly like I see you can get Arizona as a dog.
Yeah, I mean Texas Tech was laying 2.5 against Iowa State at home, so I guess this number makes sense. Nick, are you surprised by the number?
No, this is I played Tech, and I think that the talent is good for Arizona. I like you said, 6, 7, 8, really good players. They're 5-0 to start the Big 12, but I do think that they're a bit of a paper tiger right now in the Big 12. On the road, they're shooting 314th and 3%. Like this team can't shoot. They're not a good 3-point shooting team.
They should be able to.
But they can't. But I mean, we're this far in the season, they aren't. So and teams just aren't making them. And you brought it up, like Cincinnati inept offensively, West Virginia brutal offensively at times. Like they got Baylor. Like, Baylor's a good one, but Baylor at the end of the day, they're 1-4 on the road this season, and they haven't been close to winning on the road. So like, is that good of a win?
They're 42-19 at half.
No, I know, but Baylor on the road, like that's what they do on the road. That's what Baylor's been on the road. Like this is probably the easiest Big 12 schedule to date so far of who they've played. Texas Tech lost back-to-back home games, which is crazy. If JT Toppin doesn't get hurt last game versus Iowa State, they probably end up winning instead of losing in overtime. They are 0-2 ATS the last 2. I think this is just like the perfect storm of Tech's going to bounce back at home. And, oh, by the way, they shoot 20 – they're 20th in the country for 3-point percent, Texas Tech at home.
Nah, shit. At home. Well, shit, it says they're 8.
Or, I mean, wait, hold on. Yeah, even better overall. But, yeah, I mean, 314th on the road for Arizona from 3. Texas Tech 20th from 3 at home. This could be one of those games where it all just happens at once. Perfect song. I can see Tech win by like 10, 15 points, to be honest with you.
Nick, you know who I love on Texas Tech, don't you?
Who?
You know who I love on Texas Tech.
Hopefully Chance McMillan.
Oh, I love Chance McMillan. Don't get it twisted. I love Chance McMillan, but I love Christian Anderson.
Yeah, he's tough.
Christian Anderson is tough.
He's been hooping too lately.
He plays with so much confidence. Like, I don't know if it's, I said Arizona 6, 7, 8, but like Fede Federico, yeah, he's a string being, yes, and that's
a good 6, 7, 8.
That's a good 6, 7, 8. Kevin Overton is a smart basketball player. Does everything on the wing. I still don't get why Texas Tech isn't better defensively as a Graham McCasland coach team. They're just so good at shooting the ball. Darion Williams is a problem. He's starting to show up on NBA draft boards too. He is just a nightmare for a lot of teams to match up with. I don't know if Arizona's that team. Arizona just confuses me because sometimes I'm like, damn, they got athletes in KJ Lewis and Bradley. Delorso, not so much. Your boy Delorso, not so much. But I get scared of Arizona being like, what if they become a really good defensive team? Because they're like top 20-ish defense right now, but my eyes haven't really fully felt that, and I think it's a lot of the schedule. Anyways, I totally think Texas Tech is the side today. I'm a little nervous about, can they keep in a walk off the glass? Is Visar going to, be getting a lot of shots at the rim and punishing them that way? But from a guard perspective, like Arizona guards on the road versus Texas Tech guards at home, like no doubt I want Texas Tech is the side. They're fun. Like, how many teams have like a point guard that can get you 10 assists in a game who's like not even one of your arguably 5 best players? Like, they're very good. They shoot that baby. And that's shooting. Like, we always get to the point of the season where we're like, oh, but like if this team could make shots, like they could be so good because they defend and they get downhill. But if they could hit shots, and they don't really do that. But it's like, how about the teams that actually just do always make their shots? Like Texas Tech is one of them. I'm a fan. And at home, they haven't won a home game since Christmas. Like, it just screams spot. Arizona's due, right? Yeah.
It's tough for me. I think it's gonna be a good game. I'm always down to fade Caleb Love as a dog. I think inevitably there's like the D'Angelo Russell effect of players like Caleb Love who, when down or in situations where I think you could either A, make the right decision, or B, shoot a three. You just, I call it the D'Angelo Russell effect. And you just always go back to your instincts of down 5, I'm shooting the basketball. And I think that hurts teams more through and through. So Arizona as a dog, I would probably lean towards fading, but I do think they have high upside, and we've kind of seen it in the last few weeks. So I don't think it's the craziest take in the world.
I love that you call them a paper tiger, Nick, and it's a great reminder of, let's not reward teams for doing what they should have done. Like, congrats, like you beat not good teams that you're way more talented than. Like, when you were desperate back against the wall because you lost a lot of your non-con games that you were right in, like, did we learn anything new about Arizona? No. Like, I think I learned that Visars really can play and that he's better than Krivas. And we learned that they reined Caleb Love a little bit. And he like went for 30 a couple games against some shit teams. And then he hasn't scored more than 16 in the last 4 games. And we like that. I don't think we learned anything new against Arizona. This is probably the 4th hardest game you can play in the Big 12 other than at Houston, at Iowa State, and at Kansas. And it's a good number. Let's talk here. Nick, DeVries has done such a good job at West Virginia, but here's my favorite West Virginia stat, just as in being telling. In the last 3 games, they only have 10 assists that were by someone not named Javon Small. That is a very low number. He is fantastic, but, man, they need him to do everything. Jonathan Powell can shoot. Hansberry pops up, but this team was already a little thin with Tucker DeVries, in terms of just who these guys are. Like, Sincere Harris can't shoot that ball. Like DeVries did such a good job. At the end of the day, like, how much longer can I keep giving him the benefit of the doubt? Like, you've got Iowa freaking State coming to town, whose one loss is by 2 to Auburn. Like 6.5 feels small to me, but I get it because you look at the total, it's 137.5. Like, can Iowa State without Momcilovic go on the road and score enough here? Like, if West Virginia can keep them out of transition, which I think they can. All this to say, I think West Virginia team total under is definitely worth a look, because if Javon Small is your one dude who's your engine, Iowa State is the exact type of team who can make life hell for him and make him get the ball out of his hands and make someone else beat you. And go ahead, Sincere Harris. Go ahead, Akani. Like, I think we can handle that. What do you guys think of this number?
Yeah, I think West Virginia's gas tank is starting to run a little low. They're only a 7-man rotation. This is their 3rd game this week. Don't forget they played last Sunday in altitude at Colorado, then at Houston, which is always, you're getting mugged out there no matter what. It's a slugfest. And now you're back home versus Iowa State, who is also defensively very good. And this is, the proof's in the pudding. Like, they're 16th in average possession length in the Big 12. They are slowing it down. They only played 54 offensive possessions versus Houston, which is like astronomical. And Iowa State on the road, really good. 3-0 ATS, 3-0 straight up. And that's with teams on the road shooting 39% from 3 versus them. Like, that is absurd. Iowa State's 5th best D overall. West Virginia's 23rd. I said at the beginning of the season, and it's even more true now without Tucker DeVries, if West Virginia wants to cover, they want to win games in the Big 12, they have to play defense. And I respect their defense a lot. I respect this spot from the sense of, like, Iowa State just got a road OTW at Tech. They just won at home versus Kansas. Now you go to West Virginia, who has the number 1 home court advantage per KenPom in the country. Like, this screams trap, but they're so good. And they're not due regression. Nothing. I can't even make a case. I don't know. It's all points me towards, I think it's going to go under. I think that this game does not see many points. And that's really where I'm at. I can't choose a side. I can't choose a side on this one.
Corby, anything to offer?
No, I really don't have much here. Sorry, I'm playing through. There's been a ton of steam this morning. It looks like everyone and their mother is betting college basketball today. I guess enough liquidity after football's ending. We're seeing some ridiculous steam. I have let me bounce to another high-level game. Just curious y'all's opinion on it. It starts in an hour and 20, I guess. The UConn-Creighton game. I know we skimmed over it, but this total has now, in the last 20 minutes, been bought down 2 points. Is there like something injury related to keep note of?
McNeely.
would be
No,
massive.
McNeely was never playing.
Yeah,
Am I
I
wrong?
would think McNeely in, but that wouldn't help an under, I guess. So I was kind of confused as to why this has been steaming so much.
He got a high ankle sprain 2 weeks ago. I didn't see anything that he was actually playing. I think something's interesting is the last couple of years, Creighton has gone on to UConn and played some gritty ass games with Kalkbrenner out anchoring that defense. 62-48 last year, and I'm pretty sure it was even uglier the year before. 69-60. Both those games clearly under a 145. And I understand the teams look different, but in this UConn team is awful defensively. Awful defensively. My boy Solo Ball, he's been coming out a lot, but he's not good defensively. Terrace Reed and Sampson can be a little spacey and foul a lot. So I don't know how good I feel about two offensively minded. I don't even know what I can say about that, about Creighton these days. But I don't really have a read other than I don't think Creighton's that good, especially away from home. I don't think they're good. Like man. Like, I mean, you don't get 4 for 4 corner threes from Isaac Trout. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be relying on that. That should be a bonus, not your third leading scorer.
Yeah, we're still seeing under get by. It's 45 flat now at Circus. So somebody really likes this under, which is weird in this big of a game. It's not a throw, but
is it this big of a game though? It's great. I don't think Creighton is a tournament team at all.
From a market standpoint, it's a pretty big game. I think probably 10,000 on the side. So to move a line 2.5 points at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning, it's pretty good. It's just weird. Like I was curious because I'm not just like stone cold nuts under here. I think you bring up good points that like in years past, Creighton has known how to play this UConn team. But like when we watch both these teams, we know Creighton kind of like wants to score. I would in parentheses usually. I don't know if this team could score that much. And UConn, a Hurley led team, like obviously going to try to play some defense, but scoring is on their agenda. So I don't know. It felt weird to see a steam of 2.5 points in this game.
Grills?
I don't have anything on this game. I think Creighton on the road is fade.
Yeah, and UConn can shoot the ball. Like they got some really good shooters. And what does Creighton want to do? They're going to keep you in front. Try to force you to score over Kalkbrenner, blah, blah, blah. They don't foul you. They don't turn you over. I just think UConn at home will be comfortable enough to make enough shots from the perimeter. And who's scary about man, Pop Isaacs was hooping for sure. And I wasn't really a poppity pop guy, but Ashworth, I'm just tired of it. Like he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He's been playing well. But
he almost had a triple-double.
Bro, he shot 2 for 21 from 3 his last 2 road games. Blech. A lot of them were tougher.
He's got a kid. He's probably on the road missing his baby, so he can't shoot no more.
You know why he's got a baby? I mean, I guess he's been in college for a while, but he's a Utah guy.
Yeah, he's old. I mean, he's like damn near 30 nowadays.
Whoa! Some of us have birthdays tomorrow, and we're about to be 32, man.
Yeah,
you're not
30 yet.
Well, you know what? I would like to apologize to the chat. I've neglected the chat for a bit. I want to address some chat things, but also chat. Can we get some happy birthdays for Corby in the chat? It's his birthday tomorrow. Real quick. Cool. Now that Tyler has been freed, what have I seen from Wake This a lot better than before? I mean, Hunter Salas is just a god. I mean, I still think the team is deeply flawed. Hopefully, Omaha helps open up space, but Salas has just been god mode. I do think Tyler helps for sure, but he's still raw. He still can't really hit a catch and shoot 3, and he still turns that shit over a lot. But yeah, the team's obviously been playing better. The staff had some time to make some adjustments. Happy birthday, CC. Happy birthday, Parlay P. Happy birthday to you. Purdue, Oregon. We need to get into Purdue, Oregon. That's a good one. Thank you for reminding me. We spent a lot of time on this if you want to rewind, but Bama-ish, but like not really. Ryan, we got you. We got you. This is the best cure for hangover. Everybody knows that. Trig, thank God. What up, brother? Give us a play in the chat, Trig. Right, we're gonna get into Purdue, Oregon here in a second. That's a great game. But I got you, Twins fan. Really quick, I love Utah today at home against BYU. I was in on BYU earlier this year. But in a rivalry game, this is a very small number. Utah has been shooting the ball really well from the perimeter, and BYU has no balls on them. Like, I'm just very disappointed in what they've been this year. They're not good defensively. I think Utah will be very comfortable. And Utah's huge also. Utah's like second. Utah starts like a 6'6", 6'8" backcourt. I like Utah. And then I'm looking at the Kansas State team total under because they're awful, and Kansas has been the number one defense in the country the last few weeks, and I just think they're not gonna be able to score. All right. I don't know if you guys have any quick thoughts on those two plays, but let's talk Purdue, Oregon as well.
Can you pull up Oregon's Ken Palm real quick?
Yeah.
Their schedule.
They've been winning close road games.
They've been really weird to start the Big Ten. Like really weird. Like they got blown up to Illinois. They had to come back to beat Maryland, who's not a good away team. Then they have a weird game versus Ohio State they win. And they barely beat Penn State in a weird game. Like they've just been playing crazy roller coaster games. I think they win today, but I didn't come close to betting this one.
Corby, anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm zoned. I'm trying to. There's a lot going on in the betting market right now.
It's got like 5 monitors up behind you. I can just tell. I'm
cracked out right now. So I listen. I watch this Purdue team, and I understand the ninth in the nation adjusted offensive efficiency per Ken Palm. They have all the pieces. I just think that the only spots that they really are going to struggle are when they're just out athleticized, I guess is what you would say. We kind of saw in the Auburn game, like they weren't able to get the shots they wanted to take, and in return they scored 69. Is Oregon that? I'm not sure. I've watched Oregon a few times. I will say I haven't watched them enough. From a lineup standpoint, it makes sense. Like I think Shostad's one of the more underrated. Just in the talk of lately. Yeah, and like the talk of just like elite basketball players, he doesn't ever really get brought up, and I do think he's there. But like from a physicality, athleticism standpoint, I don't think Oregon really cares to push them around too much, which bodes well for Purdue. An over Purdue through and through. I didn't bet either of these.
Oregon, you got to tip your hat to the ability to go on the road and like win these close games on the East Coast. You know, first run in the Big Ten. Why are you giving up? They were down like 15 in the first half or something like that to Maryland, and Illinois made them look foolish. I don't know if I trust Oregon to guard on their home court. I think when Oregon gets going, they're a very good offensive team because they have a bunch of guys that can get you, which is something that's just been something that I've found comfort in this year, even though it hasn't translated to me actually picking games well. But like they have 8 really good players. Like there's no drop off when a KJ Evans comes in or a Bartholomew comes in, and Supreme Cook was like a double monster at Fairfield and was like solid for Georgetown last year. Like he's just like your reserve energy pick. Like they are a very talented team. Shelstead has been playing out of his mind. Biddle's a problem. I think Purdue could struggle with Biddle on the interior. And you just got athleticism. And sometimes Oregon can just be frustrating with me. It's like I know this. You can say this about so many teams, but when they're hitting shots, like they look like an elite team. But sometimes, you know, they really need a bucket. And I'm like, all right, why did Bartholomew bring it up and hit a cross and take a tough shot? Like sometimes I'm just a little bit nervous of what they become when things break down a bit. Purdue, Braden Smith's been playing out of his mind. What have they done on the road? They beat 3 of the worst teams in the Big Ten, you know? And we saw them go on the road to Penn State and they did not look good at all against Penn State. Like this was one of those games where it's like, all right, outside of Braden, Braden only had 6 points, but it's like 7 turnovers for TKR. I don't know if Oregon can do that defensively, but they lost to the 2 best road teams they played, and they didn't look that good in either of them.
There's a clear recipe to being Purdue, and that's just pressuring them. Marquette excels in it, Penn State excels in it, A&M's good at it, and they all torched them. Like that's it. That's the one thing I look at in Purdue games is like look at the other team. If they're forcing turnovers, they're going to be a good bet versus Purdue.
But does Oregon?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't like this game. That's why I'm not touching this game. I don't know. Like I think Oregon's good, but again, I don't think I'm with you. I don't think they are excellent at anything. They're just solid 1 through 8, solid coach, solid team, but they're not great. Like they have a clear ceiling and a clear floor.
unless Shellstead keeps getting better and better and better because he has been playing crazy.
Right. Shellstad's the only one that has that, like, all right, we can take this team to the next level.
Here's an interesting thing about this to me about Oregon. I haven't looked at this of how they've been matching guys up, but who said Shellstead's on Braden Smith? I would put Shellstead on Lawyer or on Cox. You know, I'd throw a Bamba or a Tracy on Braden Smith. Throw that 6'5" body on him.
Yeah.
And Fletcher Lawyer's not going to be going all the way to the cup off the bounce on Shellstead. I think that is the key. How does Oregon
That's what I prefer too.
match up with Purdue? Can they get physical with him? Can they throw Bamba? I think Bamba could do a way better job. And Biddle, man, I don't know what to think about Biddle. Biddle gives me confusion because sometimes I'm watching him. I'm like, dude, there are games where Nate Biddle like puts fear into the other team. Like against Alabama, he was great against Bama. He had 19 and 9 with a couple. Oh no, he didn't know blocks in that game. But shit, he can protect the rim. He can step out and hit a three, which opens up spacing for everything, and he can be imposing on the inside. And like that could be a foul trouble type beat. I could see Oregon crushing Purdue, but I still like the fact that Maryland came in and was so comfortable offensively, and the fact that Illinois did what they did. I'm just not. I agree. It's hard for me to fully get behind Oregon. And then Twins fan is a big Purdue guy. Defensive rebounding look better with first, yes. But after you can play more, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess I can also just say that's for Purdue looks really good when first and TKR are playing, but like they really only got 4 guys. Like Heidi and Colvin haven't really made that step. I like Cox a lot. I think he's gonna be really good, but
they really only have 3 guys. Now you can truly
sure.
Put hope and account for.
No, that's true. So Oregon makes sense. I don't know if I'm surprised the line's not bigger than 3.5. It was 2.5 last night, but I don't know how much also to be valuing how big of a deal it is that Purdue's going west. It seems like west to east, as Mick Cronin made very loud and clear, is a bigger deal.
It definitely is. Early results are true. Like these teams going east to west have been looking a lot better. Besides Iowa last night versus UCLA, but
right.
That game last night was horrible. But
all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take y'all. I get a roll, so I'm gonna take y'all to a comment we just got. I'm gonna hit one play, and then I got a roll. I'm going crazy if you're not betting. So all right, go to the old Triggs. I'm gonna let Billy Clyde know. This guy Corby suggests if you see this. There we go. All right, Billy Clyde, Billy Gillespie, the man himself. We're gonna go to Tarleton, where Freddie Hicks is back. I think y'all probably saw him last game. Came off the bench, got a solid 20 minutes. Looked good. I think he had 15 points in that game. I actually don't like. I've talked about this before with both of you, but I don't think that the market really genuinely cares about injuries in these small of games. Freddie Hicks obviously that changes the entire offense of Tarleton. This number makes sense if Hicks isn't back. Also, Grimes starting to see some significant minutes. I think he's had double digits in so Grimes, the Baylor transfer, has had double digits in 3 of his last 4 games. A guy who didn't play the start of the season. So Tarleton's starting to find some offense. Defensively, they like to force a lot of turnovers. They like to play just this annoying ass basketball. Trick says he should start today. That's what he told me as well earlier this week. So feel good. Freddie plays a lot. Tarleton is a significantly faster, significantly better team with him on the court. And we've seen Grand Canyon. If you've watched Grand Canyon, you know what they want to do. They want to play as fast as they can. Tarleton trying to get some steals. Grand Canyon probably not going to turn the ball over much, but when you're going for that kind of steal-heavy basketball, you're going to get a lot of fouls. You're going to get a lot of open transition buckets. So 136 seems kind of crazy to me. Took the over. I was at 41.
I can't believe we're talking about a team that beat one Division I school before Christmas.
See the issue, and that's why I still have Christmas tree up. But the issue here is that team is not the same team. If you go listen to the preseason talks from Gillespie, he, as nicely as he could say, is Freddie Hicks is our entire basketball team. As just less serious, being nice guy. He's our team runs through him, and without him, we are in trouble. So I'm excited to watch this team today. I think this is one of the most underrated basketball teams, relative speaking.
I love this shit when someone leaves and comes back to the school.
Yeah,
This is
it's
a good
rough
play.
one.
This is a good play.
UAB has several of these.
What's the total? What? So you're taking the total?
Yeah,
Under?
over 136.
Oh, over 136.
Yeah. Freddie's gonna score. He'll speed up this all. Basically, like think of it like this: like Charleston has good defense, and their offense is kind of like one of those teams that you've seen. Like it looks like the so like go scroll look right into that pace metric of the offensive average possession length, 357. You know what that is? That is 5 guys who don't have their star player, and they go like this. Oh boy, what are we gonna do here? How are we gonna shoot this basketball? Now that they have him, I bet that drops closer to probably 290. Possession length probably closer to like 17 seconds. And so you see some pace. So I'll take that. Trigg says he'll be there. I just had to listen. We talked too much good ball. I had to talk some shitty ball before I roll out and start betting some games here.
All right. Thanks for joining, Corey. Happy birthday tomorrow.
It was fun. Yes, sir. Y'all.
Oh, I got you off mid sentence. I'm sorry, Nick. We got to run through a couple.
Yeah, no problem. If Trigg's here, shout out Trigg. The man was at the Northern Arizona
game.
Then he was at New Mexico, and now he's going to this bullshit, Grand Canyon.
Oh, you're going to this one? Trigg, I loved the look of the pit from the walk. That was an awesome video.
He's on a world tour, man. This guy's crazy.
Is he in an RV? How's he doing it? Trigg, what's your secret? I would love to. Trigg, I would love to go on the West Coast.
That's wild.
Why is USC an underdog? Why is USC an underdog? They are fucking good. Wesley Yates has stepped up. Des Claude's one of the best players in the Big Ten. St. Thomas can hoop. This team is hard to guard. Wisconsin doesn't guard. They got length to throw at Tanjay. Who says USC can't drop 85 on Wisconsin and win today? Why?
I think Wisconsin wins.
Why?
I don't know. I wouldn't bet the game. But I had USC versus Iowa, and USC was hooping, bro. Could not miss. And then Iowa started coming back out of nowhere. But it's more of a fate of Iowa's defense that is on the road is absolutely putrid. And I thought that like USC has all this talent, but they were like 350th, like dead last in the country in minutes continuity. But it's all clicking now. It's all coming together. Wesley Yates is popping off. He's one of the better freshmen in the whole Big Ten. I agree. I like USC here. Pull up Wisconsin. There's like one number for Wisconsin that I have to see here. Defense is 50th. I mean, I don't know. I just this is a really good game, man. And it's why it's a pick. I couldn't go either way. You can convince me either way, honestly.
When the bus gets chugging, get the hell out the way.
That's true. This is the time of the year when he starts getting it going too. I feel like
this is the time of the year. I'm not saying either going to go on the road and beat Nebraska, or they're going to beat a Michigan State team. I'm saying, can they beat a Wisconsin team that lives at the goddamn free throw line and makes all their free throws?
They do not.
And I just are we that impressed? Are we that impressed what they've done?
I feel like I'm this.
Are we that impressed? Dean,
I'm looking.
Tell me why. Tell me why, Chat. No, tell me why. I want to hear it, Chat. Tell me why I shouldn't bet USC. I don't want to bet USC, but I do want to. But I will not do it unless I feel.
I think USC is still in the realm of like you can still keep buying this team. I think there's still value on this team for sure.
They're dogs at home against a good but not great team.
Yeah. Nah, it's tough. It's tough. Man, I can go either way. I see your point, USC though. I don't mind them.
Dude, I'm just impressed watching them. It's not just that they're winning. It's that, well, first of all, winning at Illinois. I know there's no KJ, but like,
I have a small concern about the rotation right now.
I know. I disagree. I love it. Let Des play 40. Let Ogbo play 40.
No, I know, but
Wesley Yates play 40.
They really don't have a 5 right now.
They don't. Ooh, Stephen Crowell. I'm so scared.
Stephen Crowell, that man can play.
No, I will disrespect Stephen Crowell. I will respectfully disrespect Stephen Crowell. What has he been up to lately? Do they really want to play through him? Okay. He has been playing better than I've given him credit for. Appreciate you for pointing that out, Mitch Kraft. I
Look at that.
appreciate you pointing that out. Crowd's been playing well.
Go over today.
But I would be a little bit more afraid of that if Wisconsin was a half-court team that could take USC out of and not let USC run, slow the tempo down, make it a less possession game. Wisconsin runs.
Yeah,
and
I know.
we saw this against, when I bet them against UT Rio Grande Valley.
This year.
What's up?
Great guard was like, fuck it, we're changing this whole shit up this year. And they've been fun. Like, their offense is actually good this year. And Tanji is really good. I like this team. Blackwell's solid. I like this team. They're not like last year. I faded them round 1 of March Madness. I would not do that this year. I think they're legit.
Who's Max Klesmit guarding?
Well, that's the hardest thing about USC is they're so big. So, like, you do have some weird matchups getting thrown around. And that's why I love them.
Blackwell and Tanjay are going to – like, I don't think they have a single guy. I mean, maybe Blackwell. I don't think they have anyone – and I like Tanjay, but he's not a super defender, really, is he?
He's like one of the stronger, bigger wings. And
I feel like at Colorado State, I had it in my mind that he was a lockdown defender, and maybe it's just the team he's in Wisconsin, but like
he did go to Missouri. They probably taught him how to not play defense there.
They don't protect the rim. They're 330th in block percentage. I'm just imagining USC just getting to the cup and Des Clark going for 30. Like, what if they hit a couple of threes too?
That's the thing with USC is you got to have Des Clark. You got to have him clicking on all cylinders again for the third game in a row.
Yeah.
That's the one word.
It's dicier than I thought. I think the crowd point. You're right about the center production, but like, what did Tomislav do in this game? He only got 3 shot attempts.
I don't love Tomislav that much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. I might not play it.
This is a coin flip. It really is.
It's a coin flip, but I just love this group of 4. 6'6", 6'4", 6'7", 6'7".
I do.
They get, dude, against Iowa, like, to have 3 different guys make like 6 2-point field goals and like, I don't know.
I miss Matt Nolan. I like that guy. But hey, shout out to Muss because at Arkansas he would play like 10 dudes and USC has the guys to go deep. They just
don't. The Ivy League guy, right?
Yeah, they got the little white point guard. They got some dudes, man. He just is like, screw it. These are the guys I'm rolling with.
Yeah. Well, I'm intrigued by that one. I might lose control. Anything in the ACC?
3.5's the line after that. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
With Wake, I can't get out of my head just some of my torture from the past. Like, this just feels like a really scary game because Virginia Tech doesn't have good players. Like, for real, I really don't think they're good at all except the VCU transfer. Toby, was it Lawal? Virginia Tech is just well coached offensively, and Wake Forest is a really tough defensive team. Like they beat Michigan because they were just really tough, you know? Like that's what Spillers brings and stuff, but like I just don't know if when you go at Virginia Tech, what if they're executing their thing and what if fucking Jaden Schutt hits 6 threes? Like that's what this feels like to me. That Jaden Schutt hits 6 threes and maybe Salas goes for 18, not 30, and all of a sudden here comes Hildreth and here comes Efton Reed, dude, the way Efton Reed holds the ball drives me fucking up the wall. Like, can we just go up and use the backboard instead of woo? I looked so unathletic doing that, but it's because I was trying to be Efton Reed.
I like the under in this one.
You think Wake's gonna be able to defend him? I'm just a little scared that Virginia Tech's shooting. They're a good 3-point shooting team.
It's an odd game. Virginia Tech's off of a big comeback win versus NC State. Wake's off a comeback win versus Stanford.
Maybe Salas just goes for 30.
That's what you just have to have. You just have to have Salas just keep popping. I mean, he's capable of it. I don't know. Wake Forest was absolutely free money versus at Miami. Oh, by the way, Miami's like the free money glitch. Just fade them every game and you'll make money.
SMU's only laying 5.5.
No, I know, dude. It's so crazy. I can't believe these lines Miami gets. It's unbelievable. They haven't covered games just like last year.
Ooh. What about this?
I know.
What about my boys?
I like them on the opener. I actually thought about betting them because I think Notre Dame's best days are still ahead of them. I think that they needed the win versus Boston College to get them back on track. They've been really unlucky at the end of games. UNC lost by 1. NC State lost by 1. Just poor in-game luck. I think Notre Dame's a good team to buy right now.
I love Notre Dame.
It was 3. I like the 3. 4.5. I don't like that as much.
Cuse is some ass, bro.
They beat Georgia Tech though.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm scared. There's no reason Wake should lose to Virginia Tech. They should go in there and bust their ass. I'm just saying I don't know if that's gonna happen. That's the thing, man.
They're not gonna bust their ass. They don't
all this non-con, dude. All this non-con stuff. This looks awful. I understand that they're not that good, but like,
it's still Mike Young.
That's what's crazy, bro. This is an easy game, like a game you can't lose, and you're only 3.5 point favorites. Like, that's just what sucks about conference play. Like, there's just no easy games for anybody. That's why I hate when everyone just glazes every single team. It's like, yeah, this is a difficult game, even though they have a losing record because it's on the road and it's conference, blah, blah, blah. But, like, you can't say that shit when, like, the hardest game an SEC team plays is at South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when people get all mad about the way the AC is perceived, it's like maybe if if 6 of these teams weren't god awful in November, December, we wouldn't be in this situation.
All right, one more game that I got to dip.
Okay.
The best ACC game of the day. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this game and Pitt overall. But what do you think about Pitt Clemson?
I think Pitt was just like playing close to their ceiling for like a year. Like the team last year and the beginning of this year, it's like I just think the guards took care of the ball, hit a lot of shots, and the role players just did a good enough job. But like your front court is still Walmart Chet's and Cam Corin. Like you need Ish Leggett, Jalen Lowe, and Damian Dunn to hoop every game to win. And Zach Austin hitting threes and stuff. But like I definitely think Clemson's won this game at Pitt. I feel like a couple of years ago.
Clemson owns Capel. They own Capel.
Yeah. I think Shefflin and Locken are really tough to deal with here, and I think Chase Hunter is the best guard in the ACC, not named Hunter Salas, and I don't feel good about taking Pitt here at all, but I don't know if I'm jumping to take Clemson.
Clemson wins outright, bro. I don't know how Pitt was good in November. Like I really don't. And then I started to kind of believe in them. Cause I saw my boys. I was like, man, that Pitt lost like from early.
Again, 5 of 8 threes from Zach Austin. This is what I'm saying. 28 from Low, 21 from Leggett. Like they need their guards to just really hoop every game.
God, I think they're so trash. I don't know how they're good. Cam Corin stunk. They tried fighting Florida State after the game. I think they're done.
No, Cam Corin's not good. Jalen Lowe, 8 turnovers. That's how you know
they
how
have
uncomfortable he is because he doesn't turn the ball over, bro. He was one of the best turnover rates in the country as a freshman last year. Like it's because he doesn't have as much to work with.
Bro, they had their season high in turnovers in the first half of Florida State last game. Everything they've been doing is off the rails right now. They're completely derailed.
Should we take Clemson?
Huh?
They're only lost. They lost at Louisville, at Boise State. But you know they won at Miami, won at Georgia Tech. This would be a really good road win for them. They haven't gotten that, and they haven't gotten that good road win yet. This could be that game. It's a Q1.
Yeah, give me Clemson. Wouldn't bet it, but I like the win. I gotta go though.
Wait. Let me just check my notes really quickly if I missed anything. Okay, no, I think that's it. Thank you guys for joining. Nick, it was great to get back. Good luck to everyone today. I think I'm going to record a video and just announce my plays and post it or something like that. But I'm kind of a mess. All right. Good luck. We'll talk soon, Nick. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Yep. See you guys.
Peace.